The last season of Stranger Things has finally concluded. Chapter 8, The Right Side Up, the back of the series finale, concentrates on bidding farewell to the major protagonists in style. As they graduate from high school, Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas, and Max find comfort in the knowledge that they still have each other despite their fears about what lies ahead. Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, and Robin are in a similar situation. They have reconnected after being apart for several months and have decided to meet together occasionally because their new pals simply don't measure up in terms of shared suffering. Naturally, not all of Stranger Things' characters get to ride off into the sunset. Eleven gives her life to prevent Dr. K and her friends from achieving their goals, and Callie, Eleven's sister, too perishes in a blaze of glory. But in contrast to Vecna, who suffers a brutal thrashing before having his head hacked off, they get away with it. He is a monster out to wipe out the world, therefore that doesn't mean he deserves any better. But when it comes to Henry Creel's origins, Stranger Things tries to have it both ways, and it doesn't work out well. The cave is finally explained by Stranger Things. Season 5 spends a significant amount of time in Vecna's head. He abducts 12 children from Hawkins and asks them to remain at the house where he grew up as he prepares to eliminate a malevolent creature that is endangering them. In Season 4, Max, who Vecna put in a coma, also gains entrance to the Hell's Cape and wins Holly over by telling her the truth about her friend Henry. Henry refuses to enter the cave where they are hiding, but in the end, he has a change of heart. Henry revisits a painful experience from his past, the first time he came into contact with the Mind Flayer particles, after pursuing the children. Vecna and the Mind Flayer are the subject of a chicken or the egg argument in Stranger Things, making it difficult to determine which was actually in charge. Because Henry is doing all these terrible things at the Mind Flayer's request, the stage play Stranger Things, First Shadow certainly gives the impression that the Mind Flayer is in charge. But the reality is more complicated than that. In The Right Side Up, Will senses Henry's anxiety as he enters the hive mind and thinks he may persuade him to activate the Mind Flayer. However, Henry still believes in the objective to eradicate humanity and sees himself as the Mind Flayer's partner, therefore he has no interest in turning traitor. Although that's a clear explanation, the show doesn't require it. Stranger Things could have made a powerful point about children being manipulated. Children's willingness to step up when adults around them fail to do so is the emotional foundation of Stranger Things. Mike, Lucas, and Dustin discover a conspiracy in the middle of their little town when Will disappears because they don't trust what everyone is saying. After discovering that Eleven has been exploited, they also include her despite all of her peculiarities. The show almost takes the same route with Henry, revealing that when he went into the cave, he was just an inquisitive child seeking assistance. But instead of granting Henry his salvation, it abruptly withdraws. Things would have turned out better if Stranger Things had been courageous enough to enlist Henry's assistance in the end. To begin with, all of their storylines could have come full circle if Henry had joined forces with Eleven and Will to prevent the Abyss from destroying Earth. Joyce's story might have benefited from going down that route as well, since she might have recognized the creature in front of her as a classmate who had gotten lost. Although Henry would not have been able to return with them, he could have given his life, which would have elevated him above the one-dimensional evil he ultimately became.